buried caliche deposits.
Well, I want to hear more about it when the red button is on, I think, right now. Hey, everybody, we got another geologist with us. Bre MacInnes is also leading the department. So Ann Egger, you saw in the last video, talking about co-chairing the department. So let's visit with Bre here a little bit. Thanks for joining us today. So Craig's Hill, I mean, you just dropped a bomb on me here just a second ago, so let's just cut right to it. There's this dinky little town, this dinky little hill inside of Ellensburg that...
So awesome.
So what's going on?
Okay, well, you've got river deposits from like an ancient Yakima type river.
Yeah.
That are, at least here in town, it's more like 5 million years old instead of some of the older stuff. Mm-hmm. Possible oldest deer fossil in North America. Found right there in the fairgrounds.
That Megan Weatherall and Logan
right on top of an old river deposit, like in the floodplain.
Okay.
Found weathering out a couple of years ago. It's got volcanic ash in it. It's got lake deposits. It's got some lahar deposits. It's got stuff that I'm not even sure what it is deposits. It's like this mix of cool environments that are very, and then you're like, you know, you're telling the students about it and you're like, and turn around and like, that's what it was just 5 million years ago.
Well, just to help the viewers, this is a hill we've used for as long as I've been around. It's just a few blocks away from campus. And, you know, we generally know the stratigraphy there, but is it just...
I don't think we know the stratigraphy.
We don't know.
It's really interesting, but it's really confusing. And it's got the part I take the students to practice measuring strat columns. For that's usually their first time, like with the ruler and the stick and the notebook. You're like, okay, take notes, and we're going to do this together for the first time. And I send them what I call the easy way, where it actually has like layers that are roughly in the right order.
Right.
But if you go around the corner, you can see the hill like goes up and then it disappears into like empty air because the creek had been eroding through it, and you see like the backside of an ancient hill that's not there anymore. You see like the layers of the rocks rolling off the back of the hill, and then you see this like, then you have the Thorpe gravel, so it's a gravel that is now black instead of white from a river that's only like 2 million years old that came and like cut the edge of it and then went away and left stuff there. It's really, really cool.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, you didn't, well, you were getting your rain, by the way.
That's okay.
This isn't your first year here, so you weren't really using Craig's Hill for a number of years a lot, or you weren't this excited.
I always took the students to Craig Hill and had them measure, but I didn't know what I was looking at.
Yeah, same here.
And every year I go there and I'm like learning new things about the hill, and now it's a totally cool hill.
Tsunami, oh God.
Let's get under these trees.
God, let's.
It's nice and dry over here.
Woo! Oh, this is fun.
It's just a cloud.
Springtime.
Yeah.
You've been here how long? You came from the University of Washington, but when did you make your arrival here on campus?
I came here in December 2012 after a year in Japan, because I study tsunamis.
Yes.
And so everyone goes to Japan. Not everyone, but you know, it's what you should do. Live in Japan.
And have you been able to continue that tsunami work while you've been teaching here?
Yeah, I still work on tsunami stuff, mostly through master students. Like, so I have a master student who gets excited about something, and that's the direction we go.
Yeah.
So I've had a number working in Puget Sound. I work with Lisa down in Chile.
Yes.
And have some students who do fieldwork or modeling or stuff like that. I have some students who work with the Panga Suite to do just modeling projects.
Okay.
A couple of those students. But recently I've gotten really into landslide tsunamis in Alaska.
Oh.
And so I've been doing some of that recently. So that's where I'm going next week to look at landslide tsunamis in Alaska.
And who will be on your team next week?
My kids. This will be the first time I bring my 5- and 8-year-old and my husband to the field. That'll be fun.
Here's the part where we capture you on camera being struck by lightning, Bre.
No, there's a tree. We're good.
Let's climb to the top of the roof quick. I thank you for being willing, but I promised you there wasn't going to be rain. I guess I promised incorrectly.
It's all right. If it's not too loud, it's okay. I mean, we're right here into this tree.
So,
and I have a colleague in Alaska who I'm working with.
But the tsunami deposits that's your training, and it's,
And actually everything about tsunamis, from how they get started, how
Okay.
they go across the ocean, and then what happens when they arrive.
what project did you do for your dissertation, and are you doing something similar to that with your students, both undergrad and grad students here?
Yes, if you add in my master's too, yes.
Okay.
And all of those things. So
Yeah.
it's a complicated story. So
Okay.
my master's degree was paleo tsunami, except for it was the 1952 Kamchatka event, which is not paleo, but it's still buried, so
Right.
it looks like a paleo tsunami.
Right.
So I was asking the question, like, if we just have a sediment record, a record of the tsunami from the beaches and just behind the beaches, can we actually like resolve parameters of the earthquake that made it instead of just it happened? Like normally when you think of paleo tsunamis, we just are able to say an event happened in the past.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be able to ask the question of like, can I say like where the earthquake was bigger and smaller, and like how was it a magnitude 9 or a magnitude 8, like that sort of stuff. So that was my master's, but I had 10 years of my advisor's field data. That was awesome.
Never mention your advisor.
I know.
And your advisor was Jody.
Yes,
What's her full name?
Jody Bourgeois,
Okay. Is she still at University of Washington?
emeritus, but
Okay,
yeah, we
yeah.
still keep in contact.
And you must have crossed paths with Brian Atwater as well.
Yeah, he's on the same floor.
Okay.
He was an invaluable resource.
I'm
Go
sure.
down to his office, you come back with 10 papers.
Sure. Or,
Yeah, so I compiled the data to figure out sort of how big the tsunami was over all of Kamchatka,
Yeah.
and I had one field season with them in Kamchatka
I
too.
see.
And then I learned how to model. Yeah, so I created my own earthquakes and then on the computer made the tsunami models. I was clueless. Like I felt, in comparison, like I felt like I was the person who could barely turn the computer on, and I had the modelers from PMAL, the Pacific Marine, I don't know what the E is for, laboratory.
Yeah.
So I like had one of them on speed dial, and it'd be like, it had this error, and he'd be like, did you do this? I'm like, no.
Well, you're being modest. You're very good and well respected in that community for sure. And what I'm so impressed by is that really almost every year it feels like you have grad students and undergrads, some of them like run out of Geology 101 it feels like. And suddenly
I'll take them right away,
you
yeah.
will, yes.
If we're modeling at any rate.
Yes.
Like the model that I use, you don't need to know coding, how to do it. It is like you do have to modify an input file, but if you can like do some math in Excel, you can calculate your boundaries, and I can get students modeling right away, yeah. And it's kind of fun to do that.
Well, I mean, hats off to you. And I know of at least one former student, maybe more, who are now professional tsunami geologists.
Yeah, I've got a couple that are getting their PhD. One who's working for the state of Washington
Okay.
as a tsunami modeler.
Yeah.
But he exceeded me in coding by the end, so that's good.
Alex?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is fun. Look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just waiting for it to let up a little bit. This is a whole other part of campus, but we're not getting a chance.
It never
to see
rains
it.
like this.
Oh, does it? Yeah, come to CWU where it's.
I don't know. I guess besides tsunamis and working with master students, my other passion is teaching and curriculum and how you effectively reach students. And so in that role, I do like being chair and being able to like have the bigger vision of how we educate our students,
Yes.
and being able to make decisions at the higher level about that. So that's cool. The nitty gritty of like having to write way more emails is not cool.
Yep, I'm sure. Well, the plant fossil stuff, that feels like it's come on in the last couple of years. You've incorporated that in your teaching, or do you go back further than that with the local plant Eocene fossils or something like that?
Since we started paleobiology, we've done that activity. I've added it to SEDSTRAT now, so students
Okay.
occasionally get it twice.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's really cool to, like, it's not just the rocks and the environment's changed, but the climate's changed. I mean, the rain shadow's only been here for a few million, like 2 to 4 million years, right? So even in the recent past, the whole climate was different over here. and getting students to think on that sort of scale is cool.
So we're doing these videos obviously to try to, make sure people know about us, and transfer students or brand new high school students coming into college, how quickly would they see you if they showed up and started taking classes in our program?
Depends on the year. Right now, every other year, Ann and I are doing 210s, so depending on the year, they'd get me like early September of their first year if they're transferring. I teach one of the 203s, so in the spring, so they get me early on in the spring, and then they get me later too. So sedimentology, stratigraphy is right now a fall class they would take towards the end. And then I do 2 upper level classes in the alternating years. One about tsunamis, that right now Walter's going to teach that because I don't have enough space in my schedule. But then I'll teach a coastal field trip class every other spring. And fossils, they can always take the class on fossils anytime. Because it's a biology, geology class, so you just need an intro to something, and we'll take you where you are and take you to the next step, wherever that is.
Well, it's not like you took over for somebody else. I mean, you've created this in our program.
Yeah.
It's been great. I always felt like we were pretty weak in that area, so thank you for all that.
Well, fossils have always been just a side passion of mine. They're just so awesome. They tell cool things. We're getting wetter and wetter, but I feel like if we leave this tree, we are going to get soaked. So I'm happy here for now. You have you're creating that dry spot. Never mind.
That's how big I am. I'm creating my own dry spot. That's a life goal.
That was good. Rock shards in it in the overbank, but then there's this like mud ball full of shards of rock, like just chips of. Right? It's completely baffling. Like, was this a ball when it was surrounded by mud? It
looks like acne.
Yeah. Maybe it was a burrow that got filled in with chips, because that's kind of like what this one is, but that's more intense chips. I remember it from last time I was here too. I was just like, what is that?
Well, the rain has passed, a couple days have passed.
Yeah.
Now we're in the Yakima River Canyon, south of Ellensburg. Bre's out in the field doing some real things with Megan Wetherill. And so what's your interpretation of this tan layer?
My interpretation is this is an overbank deposit, so like a floodplain next to the river.
Oh, there's more of it here.
Yeah.
Like, and you're confused why this isn't kind of organized stuff? Like, why is it so scattered? Like matrix supported almost?
Yeah, it's because it's being affected by soil processes and plants growing. It's not receiving sediment in like it's not regularly receiving layers, and if it was, those are getting bioturbated by worms and things like that.
Okay. And yet you didn't come out just to look at that.
No.
You were tipped off by Megan and others, I guess.
Mostly I'm out here just to help Megan.
Okay.
With the sedimentology while she looks for bones.
Megan from the University of Arizona?
Yeah, well, I'm also here to help look for bones, but they're way more practiced at it than I am.
Sure.
So mostly I give them pieces like, no, that's a rock, that's a rock.
So what did you find this morning?
So this one is a toe bone right there.
The bone of a toe.
Yeah, Sion, our undergraduate, found that one.
Muffler boy.
Carved from the 30s that just went by.
The good old days.
Yeah.
So that thing's just who knows how long that's been hanging there, probably not long.
Not long, yeah, because Sion was here last week and found a bone that was just sitting right here, the other part of a toe bone, I think. But then it's been washed away. So I think the rains we've been having have really washed away at the outcrop. But that's normal.
Do we know anything about the history or the animal? Like the time frame, what's possible for where we are stratigraphy wise?
From what we've already found here and what Megan and Sion, they've spent the last year identifying what's been found here. So Megan was saying between just 12,000 years ago and like 2 or 2.5 million years ago, probably closer to older in my opinion.
Okay.
Based on just the age and the appearance of it, I don't think it's 12,000 years old.
So some sort of ice age animal is about as general as we
Well,
need to
Megan
be?
can tell you more. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Ores?
So yeah, I don't want to give away the detailed location here. There's some permitting and other things, but this is an example of how you're continuing to just kind of follow through on local leads with not only plant fossils, but vertebrate fossils as well.
Yeah, I mean, my job's really to support the sediments and figuring out what left these sediments behind.
Right.
And the fossils are awesome and I get really excited about them, but I'm kind of clueless. I'm calling other people.
Join the club. Well, there is kind of an intriguing, wow. This is why I don't do a lot next to roads, man. I just don't like that noise.
Okay, well, here comes a truck.
Yeah. What's your interpretation? I know you haven't spent years studying this, but like, why would we have a bunch of basalt clasts like this? This is the stratigraphy, right? Or is this just surface slough?
No, this is here. You can see it continues. So we're surrounded by basalt cliffs because we're in the canyon, right? So these are eroding off the basalt cliffs. They're not all that rounded. They're still fairly rough, so they haven't been transported very far. And the bottom shape of this is very much just like a channel. So it's like a little stream. It's like a side stream coming into the main Yakima, probably.
I see.
Temporarily in this one spot. And if we climb back up, you'll see some more, like the stream coming back.
Debris flow. What do we call it that?
No, it's not a debris flow because the rocks are all touching each other.
Ah.
So this is definitely water.
Okay.
Flow.
Okay. All right. Well, so if you really wanted to go crazy in here, you'd find some kind of tephra or something to figure out where, how.
Yeah, or I'd use OSL, optically stimulated luminescence dating. So if we took a core sample and didn't let it get exposed to sunlight and took some of the rock out that was in the dark, and then send it off to a lab, they could expose it to light and it would release some energy that had been trapped that gets released by sunlight.
I see.
And so you would find out how long that bit of sediment has not seen the sun, and so it'll give you a depositional age.
Yeah.
And I think someone's done that because there's some holes over there.
Oh.
And some bones over there. You want to go see them?
Sure.
Yeah.
You got a preschool graduation to get to now. I don't want to get in the way of that.
My phone alarm will go off, so I'm not late.
Okay.
It's kind of silly to think about preschool graduation, but then at the same time, like, she's been in this preschool for 5.5 years now, right? Longer than she'd be in high school.
Oh man.
Yeah, so somebody a while ago did something. They could have been doing magnetics. They could have been doing optically stimulated luminescence.
All right. Who was this?
Who was this?
If you're watching this, is this you? Let us know what you did, what you found.
And there's a whole bunch of bones right here.
Really?
Yep. Down here is where they found the Hagerman zebra leg we collected that last summer.
Are you kidding me?
And then there was a deer antler up on that
What?
one. Yeah. And then these are the bones that are just like really messed up. So we didn't collect them last year. They might collect them this year, I'm not sure.
Those are bones from probably 1 million years ago?
1, 2, maybe less
I mean,
than a
come
million.
on, I would never guess that. Holy cow. Well, what a local spot that you could continue to, I don't know, undergrad projects or whatever.
Like Sion's been working on it all year.
Okay. Oh, you're student Sion. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Megan and
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. But like, what would you? Is this the only spot in the canyon? Do you think that has this?
That has bones?
Yeah, or just?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I assume there's other spots like this. I think Megan mentioned knowing of a couple, but getting permits to collect is more challenging.
Okay.
But it's certainly a good one.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time. Gosh sakes. I'm charged up. I don't even really like this stuff that much, but man, I'm ready to go.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, you could totally tell that this was a soil. Like just looking at the texture of it and the structure and the color modeling.
But not a calcrete or whatever like it.
No, there's a bunch of up there that you can see the you look into the sun, you
Yeah.
can see all the caliche up there.
Very cool. Thank you. I've had enough of the traffic.
Yeah, no,
All
I
right.
understand.
All right. Have a good time in Alaska, by the way.
Thank you. Leaving in
A few hours.
a few hours.
What a life you lead. All right. Thanks a lot.